Most people are psychological prey in a world full of predators, and they don't even know it. By the end of this video, you'll possess 3 Machiavellian secrets that will make you psychologically dangerous. Not dangerous to harm others, but dangerous because you'll never be manipulated, controlled, or taken advantage of again. If you've ever felt like people walk all over you, use your kindness against you, or somehow always get their way while you're left wondering what happened, this changes everything. What I'm about to share comes from 500 years of psychological warfare research, starting with Niccolò Machiavelli himself, and it's been hidden from most people because, frankly, society needs psychological sheep, not psychological wolves. Let me paint you a picture that might feel uncomfortably familiar. You're in a meeting at work, and someone takes credit for your idea. Again, you want to speak up, but you tell yourself you're being professional by staying quiet. Meanwhile, they get the promotion you deserved. Or maybe it's in your personal relationships. Someone consistently shows up late, cancels plans last minute, or emotionally manipulates you with guilt trips and sob stories. You give them the benefit of the doubt because you're a good person, while they continue to drain your energy and resources. Here's the brutal truth. You've been conditioned by society to be psychologically defenseless. You were taught that being nice, accommodating, and understanding makes you a good person, and it does. But it also makes you a perfect target for people who understand psychological warfare. The people who consistently get what they want, they weren't born different. They simply understand 3 psychological principles that Machiavelli codified 500 years ago. You see, while you were learning to treat others how you want to be treated, they were learning to treat others how others actually are. And that's made all the difference. Niccolò Machiavelli wasn't just a political theorist. He was a master psychologist who understood human nature at its core. His work, The Prince, written in 1513, remains banned or heavily criticized, not because it's evil, but because it reveals uncomfortable truths about how power actually works. Modern psychology has validated many of Machiavelli's observations. Dr. Robert Cialdini's research on influence, Dr. Amy Cuddy's work on power dynamics, and countless studies on social psychology all point to the same conclusion. There are specific psychological patterns that govern human behavior, and those who understand these patterns hold tremendous advantage. But here's what most people miss. Machiavelli wasn't teaching manipulation for its own sake. He was teaching psychological literacy for survival and success in a world where others are already playing these games. Think about it. Wouldn't you rather know the rules of the game everyone else is playing? Today I'm going to break this down into 3 levels: recognition, protection, and mastery. By the end, you'll not only see the psychological games being played around you every day, but you'll know exactly how to defend yourself and, when necessary, how to win. Secret number 1. People reveal their true nature. When they think you can't see it, Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel." This is the foundation of psychological literacy, understanding that people perform versions of themselves, not their authentic selves. Here's how this plays out in real life. The workplace example. Your colleague who's always friendly to your face, but somehow your projects always get delayed when they're involved. They're not being accidentally unhelpful, they're strategically positioning themselves as indispensable while making you look incompetent. The relationship example. The person who love bombs you with attention and affection then suddenly becomes distant and cold. This isn't mood swings. It's calculated intermittent reinforcement, the most powerful tool for psychological control. The moment you realize this, everything changes. You stop taking their performances at face value and start watching their patterns instead. Dr. Martha Stout, author of The Sociopath Next Door, found that 1 in 25 people lack empathy entirely. But here's what's more important. Even empathetic people will prioritize their own interests when they think they can get away with it. Recognition technique number 1. Watch what people do when they think no one important is watching. How do they treat service workers? How do they behave when they're stressed? This reveals their true character. Recognition. Technique number 2. Notice the gap between their words and actions. Manipulative people are excellent at saying what you want to hear while doing what serves them. But recognition is just the first step. Once you can see the game, you need to protect yourself from it. Secret number 2. Emotional detachment is your greatest weapon. Machiavelli understood that it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. But in our context, it's better to be respected than needed. Here's why. When people need you emotionally, they have power over you. When they respect you psychologically, you have power over the interaction. The psychological mechanism. Most manipulation works through emotional hooks. They make you feel guilty, sorry for them, responsible for their emotions, or afraid of conflict. The moment you emotionally detach from their drama, their power evaporates. Protection. Strategy number 1. The Grey Rock Method. When dealing with manipulative people, become psychologically uninteresting. Give neutral responses. Show no emotional reaction, and refuse to engage with their drama. For example, their manipulation. I can't believe you're being so selfish. I thought you cared about me. Your response. I understand you feel that way. Then change the subject or leave. Protection strategy number 2. The information diet. Stop giving manipulative people ammunition. They use your vulnerabilities, fears, and desires against you. Share nothing personal, reveal no weaknesses, and never explain your decisions to people who haven't earned that level of access. Protection strategy number 3. The power of no. Machiavelli wrote, "Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved." In practical terms, it's far safer to be seen as someone who sets boundaries than someone who always accommodates. The moment you start using these techniques, watch how quickly manipulative people either escalate their tactics, proving you are right about them, or find easier targets. Both outcomes protect you. Case study. Sarah, a marketing director, had a colleague who constantly dumped his work on her through guilt trips and fake emergencies. Once she started responding with, "That sounds challenging, I'm sure you'll figure it out," instead of jumping to help, he stopped asking. Within 2 weeks, he was doing his own work. But protection is defensive. True psychological power comes from mastery, from being able to influence outcomes in your favor. Secret number 3. True power is making others want to give you what you want. This is the most advanced Machiavellian principle. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. The highest level of psychological mastery isn't forcing compliance. It's creating conditions where people naturally align with your interests. The psychology of influence. Dr. Robert Cialdini identified 6 principles of influence, but aims. Machiavelli understood the meta-principle. People need to believe they're making their own decisions, even when you're guiding the process. Mastery technique number 1. The consultant frame. Instead of telling people what to do, ask questions that lead them to the conclusion you want. For example, instead of, "You should do X," say, "What do you think would happen if we tried X? What are the pros and cons you see?" Mastery technique number 2. The scarcity of your attention. Make your time and attention valuable by being selective about when and how you give it. When everyone can access you anytime, you have no leverage. When your attention is rare and earned, it becomes precious. Mastery technique number 3. The strategic vulnerability. Occasionally reveal a calculated weakness that makes you seem human and relatable, but never reveal anything that could actually be used against you. This builds trust while maintaining your psychological position. Advanced application. The workplace. Mark, a software engineer, wanted a promotion, but his manager kept overlooking him. Instead of asking directly, he started scheduling brief meetings to get advice on solving complex problems. He'd present the problem, guide his manager to suggest solutions that aligned with Mark's ideas, then implement them successfully. Within 6 months, his manager was advocating for his promotion, believing it was his own idea. At this level, you're not manipulating people. You're understanding their psychology so deeply that you can create win-win situations where they feel good about giving you what you want. Let me show you exactly how this looks in practice across 3 critical areas of life. Scenario 1. The workplace power play. Old you. Your boss consistently gives you impossible deadlines while praising you for being so reliable. You work overtime constantly, stress yourself out, and still get blamed when things go wrong. New you. You recognize this as exploitation disguised as trust. Secret number 1. You emotionally detach from their praise and pressure. Secret number 2. Then you start documenting everything and asking clarifying questions. Just so I understand the priority, if I focus on Project A with this timeline, Project B will be delayed. How should I communicate this to the Project B stakeholders? You're not refusing, you're making the consequences visible. Result. Either they give you realistic timelines, or they have to explicitly tell you to deprioritize other work, making them accountable for the decision. Scenario 2. The emotional manipulator. Old you. Your friend, family member, romantic partner uses guilt, anger, or emotional breakdowns to control your behavior. You constantly walk on eggshells and sacrifice your needs to manage their emotions. New you. You recognize emotional volatility as a control tactic. Secret number 1. You refuse to take responsibility for their emotions. Secret number 2. When they escalate, you respond calmly. I can see you're upset. I'm going to give you some space to work through that. Let me know when you're ready to have a productive conversation. Result. They either learn to communicate respectfully or they reveal themselves as truly toxic, and you can make informed decisions about the relationship. Scenario 3. The social climber. Old you. Someone befriends you specifically to gain access to your network, resources, or status. You sense something's off, but give them the benefit of the doubt because they're so nice. New you. You notice the pattern of their interest correlating with what you can provide. Secret number 1. You limit their access to information and resources while maintaining pleasant surface interactions. Secret number 2. You observe whether they maintain the relationship when you stop providing value. Result. You quickly identify whether this is a genuine friendship or a transaction disguised as friendship. Notice how, in each scenario, you're not being cruel or manipulative. You're simply refusing to be psychologically manipulated yourself. Now, I need to address something crucial. With this knowledge comes responsibility. You now understand psychological principles that most people don't. You can see through manipulation tactics that fool the majority of the population. You have tools that can significantly improve your life and protect you from those who would exploit your kindness. But here's Machiavelli's most important lesson. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. You're learning to be the fox, to recognize the psychological traps set by others, but use your lion energy only when necessary, for protection, not predation. The ethical framework. Use these tools to protect yourself and those you care about. Never use psychological manipulation to harm innocent people. Remember that true power comes from creating value, not destroying others. Understand that being psychologically dangerous means others can't manipulate you, not that you manipulate others. Exclusivity frame. You're now part of a small percentage of people who understand these psychological dynamics. Most people will go their entire lives being unconsciously influenced by those who understand what you now know. This knowledge separates you from psychological victims and puts you in control of your own life. You are not the same person who started watching this video. You can't unsee what you now see. You can't unknow what you now know. The psychological games being played around you every day, in your workplace, your relationships, your social interactions, are now visible to you. You understand the hidden rules that govern human behavior. You have the tools to protect yourself from manipulation and the wisdom to use these tools responsibly. You're no longer psychological prey. You're psychologically dangerous, dangerous to those who would exploit you, dangerous to manipulation tactics, dangerous to anyone who underestimates your psychological awareness. But this is just the beginning. In my next video, I'm going to reveal the dark psychology of people who never get disrespected, the advanced techniques that make people instinctively treat you with the respect you deserve, without you ever having to demand it. Remember, Machiavelli wrote, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." Your psychological power doesn't come from what others call you. It comes from who you choose to become. The game has always been being played. Now you know the rules.